Okay, so I meditated for 30 days and this is what happened to me. So this was back in 2008 when I actually went to India to do my yoga certification. And my teacher, my spiritual teacher at that time, had asked me to go into a meditation center, which I was not too keen on going. So he asked one of my cousins to go with me. My cousin was from Punjab, so all we did is we went to this place in Hoshiarpur, which is in Punjab, called Vipassana Center. And I had never meditated before day one. We walk into this beautiful hall, and I remember as I was going into this hall, there was nobody, like no teacher in the front, and I sit on the right side, there were a bunch of women on the right, a lot of men on the left. There were more men than there were women. And we woke up at actually 4 o'clock that day. And as I went in there, it was so cold. It was in January of 2008. And I'm just putting on, I take my blanket with me that they gave us in the ashram. I put it on around me. And I literally went inside like a zombie. So I would just put on the whole blanket on top of my head, and I'm wrapping it around, and then I go in and I sit down on this crazy cushion that I was like, why we have cushions? Why don't we have, I did not know anything about meditation at that time. So there were a lot of judgments. Went there and I actually sat in the end of where everyone sits. So there were a bunch of rows and I sit in the end. And as I was sitting and we were told to focus on our breath, and I'm focusing on the breath and I'm getting sleepy and I'm moving my head up and down, front and back, up and down in all directions. It was day 2, and then day 2 we were supposed to still focus on our breath, and then day 3 we were still supposed to focus on our breath, but this time we were told to focus on our breathing and notice the form of the breath. Is it too shallow? Is it too deep? Is the air too cold? Is the air too warm? The day 3 started. For me, it was very, very difficult. My mind was going all over the place. I was just thinking about New York. I'm thinking, why am I here? First of all, I'm starving because we only get to eat 2 meals a day. We only had breakfast at 6:30 and then lunch at 11:30, and then there was no dinner, so my stomach is growling. And the entire process of being in Vipassana Center was we had to be there for the entire 12 hours of meditation. So full 12 hours of meditation was too intense for me, for a person that's never meditated. And my back was hurting, and although we were not told to or allowed to do any physical exercises besides just walking, you cannot talk to anybody. You had to, like I mentioned, you had to be separated from the opposite sex, because the whole reason is you want to stay separate so you can stay in your zone. So here I really learned what in the zone means. I remember that a lot of women couldn't control it. So these women broke the rules. They started talking and I was like, wow, they started talking already? Are we not supposed to talk here? Anyway, I joined them. So my Vipassana Center, which was supposed to be a silence meditation, was not silence meditation for me. So day 3, I am still battling with my thoughts, and here's what I did, okay? I actually came up with an idea on how to leave this meditation center, because I felt like I'm caged. I felt like I have to run away from here. What the hell is this, right? I was thinking, how can I leave when everyone is sleeping? So I actually had a plan, and I took my stuff in the middle of the night. I got out of the room, and this center was located in a very sacred place. There were temples nearby. There were villages around, and this center was in a very secluded place where nobody was there. As I was planning to leave, I thought the best time to leave would be 3 o'clock in the morning, because 4 o'clock everyone wakes up. So I'm like, let me just leave by 3 and never have to get up 4 o'clock in the morning again. And I'm I have already packed my stuff. I'm thinking of leaving. As I tried to leave, I noticed this center had wires there. There was fencing, but these fences had thorns in them where you cannot even cross, or you can't even jump from the top and then leave, because if you try to leave, you'll be scratched. And I'm like, oh my god, this entire center, and no one was around at that time. This entire center was full of these thorny wires that I could not even cross over. I'm like, damn, I have to meditate again today. And because this was a 10-day meditation center, where I went to, a 10-day silence retreat, I entered, I went and saw the things around me, and I was not able to cross, and I was so upset. I went back to my room, I was upset, and I'm like, damn, I have another hour and I have to get up. And if you don't wake up, they make sure that they wake you up. So they literally will like go around your door and they'll like ding, 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 ding. You know, there's like so loud that you can't even sleep through this. 4th day, we went into the hall. I go into the hall again, sit for meditation. As I sit for meditation, something different happened. All the noises that was going around the center, somehow my mind was not going and paying attention there. Somehow my mind was like more inside of me. I also felt there were less thoughts. I also felt that the frustration that I had of the day in the morning, my frustration kind of calmed down by the evening. I'm telling myself, okay, 6 more days and I'll just get the hell out of here, and I'm never gonna come back to the silence meditation center again, with whatever that was at that time. Okay, that was my day 4. My day 5 was more calmness, less thoughts again. I was not frustrated. I just kind of made up my mind. I just have a few more days and I'll be out of here. Day 6, something magical happened. I woke up on time, exactly at 4. Somehow my eyes just opened up before the alarm went on. I go into the room, and as I'm going into the hall, again, every morning we gotta go and then we come back for 30 minutes. We go back into the hall, we come back. That was our schedule back and forth, but we stay in the hall for about 12 hours or so for the entire day of meditation. As I was going in the hall that day, I kind of felt like, getting used to this calmness feeling. And I was more aware of my surroundings. You know, earlier I was not too aware of my surroundings, but here I'm like paying attention to every little sound that I can listen to. I felt this like some sort of a wave in my body, and I'm like, ooh, this feels good. Like whatever this wave is, I did not know how to explain this, but it definitely felt like some magic kind of airy feeling inside me. And my mind was not going all over the place. It was right in whatever the teacher asked us to do, which is at this time, it was more about focusing on your body sensations and what are you feeling in your body. I'm like, wow, I did not know we could even feel this, you know? I never had awareness of feeling my breath or my body or my heartbeat or my pulse ever, but this really made more sense of like having experienced that we have these sensations in our body that we need to feel. And it definitely grounded me. Did not know at that time what grounded means. Day 7, I was so happy. I'm like, I can't wait to move forward and see what happens next in my meditation. And that was my day 7. My day 7 was all about like looking forward to this feeling. Whereas day 1 was like, oh my God, I want to like run away. Day 2, I planned it. Day 3, I tried to run and it didn't happen. Day 8, I remember this clearly that the teacher asked, if you have any questions, come up to the front and talk. But you gotta talk you gotta go to the teacher, talk very silently, go back to your space, go back to where you're sitting. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna raise my hand too, and I'm just gonna go if we have this one opportunity to talk to this teacher. And all of this teacher would just come in for about 30 minutes the entire day, guide us on what to do, and then this teacher would just leave. And I didn't have questions at all. And then day 8, as I go up to the teacher, my question was, how can I not have thoughts? That was my first question to him. Because by this time I was aware of what thoughts are. You know, earlier I did not know what thoughts are. So it definitely made more sense to me on what my thoughts are. So he said, you cannot stop the flow of thoughts. Thoughts will come and thoughts will go. So as we all gather together, day 10, to end up our meditation, the men and the women start intermingling and they start talking to each other. I run to my cousin and I say, how was it for you? I'm like, you never told me like this place is like that and this place we cannot even talk to each other. He's like, if I had told you earlier, would you have joined me? No, you wouldn't. So I'm like, how was it for you? I'm like, I never even saw you moving. You know, you were always like so still, and I was so fidgety during my days, and I explained to him how I felt, and then he asked me, he's like, what did you get out of it? What did you get in 10 days of meditation? And I'm like, you know what? I found something beautiful. I found that we have the sense of calmness that we can always get to. I also learned during that time that our thoughts We cannot stop the flow of thoughts. The thoughts will come, the thoughts will go, but at least we can watch them and then come back to a breath. That's what I learned through Vipassana. And then he said, would you want to continue this for another like 30 more days? I'm like, really? Like, just be here? Like, because I'm already used to this. It's been 10 days already. It's not that I was looking forward to living in the world. I was looking forward to it until like about 4 days. But after that, I didn't really want to go out in the world. I'm like, this feels better. This feels good. I'm not angry. I'm not frustrated. All the other emotions that I used to feel, I'm not feeling those emotions. He's like, if you want, we can sign up because we are already here. And, if you need to stay for 20 more days or 30 more days, I can ask the teacher. I'm like, go for it. Sign me up. We both stayed for 20 more days and I meditated straight from day 1 until day 30. And this is what happened to me after day 30. I no longer felt the need to buy things. That all the brand name clothing that I used to buy when I was in New York. Back then, it didn't mean to me, like it didn't make any sense to me. I'm like, wow, I wasted so much money. Why? And just because I wanted to be happy. And I used to shop a lot. I used to spend so much money on this crazy things. I had like 20 bags and like 40 shoes and so many clothes. I no longer felt that need. Just whatever clothes I was wearing, those were the clothes that we had for the entire like 30 days. We had a very small bag and that was enough. So the other thing that I learned after meditating for 30 days was that we don't need to eat a lot of food. Earlier, when I was not in the center, I used to get hungry so much, like I'm eating breakfast, then I'm eating a snack, I'm eating lunch, I'm eating a snack, I'm eating dinner, I'm eating a snack. But in the meditation center, at Vipassana Center, I only had 2 meals, like breakfast and lunch. And during the breakfast and lunch, you eat whatever you get. You don't have a choice. So the third thing I learned was, you don't have a choice. Whatever you get, you appreciate whatever you get right in front of you. And it made me feel like, oh my God, all the tantrums I used to throw when my mom used to cook. And I used to be like, Mom, can you make this for me instead of this for me? I had a sense of appreciation, especially when someone cooks and gives me the food. And now, of course, I'm a whole different person now. But, at that time, I was like, the next day when we ate or the following days, all the days when we ate, somehow your mind calms down and your taste buds just get adapted to the food you're eating. Where the food had like very less salt, it was not spicy at all, the tea did not have sugar. So all those things that we feel we cannot do, we actually can totally. We just have to get used to it and bring it into a habit of doing it. So those were my 3 big things that I really learned during my 30 days of straight meditation, whereas we did talk at the 10th day, but then we went back into not talking at all. And that's what I wanted to share in this video. I hope you like it. So please comment below on what do you learn, or how do you feel after you come out of meditation? And have you been meditating for 30 days straight? And if you did, what does that mean to you? How does it make you feel? What have you learned from this experience? So share with me. I would love to know. Catch you in my next video. See you soon.